So good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for joining today morning in person and those on Zoom. So again, we will start with a short mindful breathing meditations exercise. Try to keep your back straight, but not too stiff. Just relax your body. Feel the weight of your body on cushion, chair, and the surrounding. And just watch the breath mindfully for a few moments. Once our mind has been settled down and quiet, then we try to contemplate that as long as we are in samsara, there is never end to the problem, pain and suffering. Always something happening. Sometimes more serious, sometimes it's not very serious, but something is not right, not going well the way we want things to go. And our whole life so far has been like that. When we feel like things are just fine, suddenly something happens. Suddenly things started to crack. And as long as we are in samsara, that will continue. That will never stop. And that has been the situation from the beginner's time. In a way, it's very tiring, never ending. If we want to end to all this problem and suffering, pain permanently, then we should free from the samsara. That is the only way. And the only way to free from the samsara is by overcoming the contaminated actions of the karma and those afflictive emotions. Therefore, I must put effort in reducing and overcoming those contaminated actions and those afflictive emotions. To do that, we need to cultivate the inner opposing energy forces, such as true love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, wisdom realizing emptiness directly, and all other spiritual realizations or experiences. To generate and increase and improve those inner qualities, I must engage into the correct and continuous contemplation, meditation practice for the success of our practice meditations. We need the blessings of the Guru, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. We need to purify all the obstacles and need to gather all the conducive condition, the merits, and to engage in those practices. We need to get inspired, reminded the importance of those practices. By continue to studies about those practices. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the talk, not only listen, but whatever I find helpful and beneficial, that I'm going to integrate in my life as much as possible. May I coming here to listen, engage in discussions, reflection, contemplations. May all of this become cause and conditions to obtain our highest potential, the fully awakened state. So we can be helpful and beneficial to all sentient beings. So we can liberate all sentient beings from all their suffering and cause of suffering permanently. And to lead them to ultimate happiness of fully awakened state. Okay.
Refuge and bodhicitta. Oh, sang ke chodang
So
soki
get
cholam chang chu bardo dakni kyap su chi laki chunin gi pe sonam ke trola penche sang ke dupa shuk I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Short mandala offerings. Om Sahaji Peki Chukching Me To Tram Rira Ling Chi Ni De Gen Padi Sang Ge Ching Du Mi Te Puwa Yi Dro Kun Nam Da Shing Lam Chö Par Shu Jetsen Lama Nam Pa Ke Nam Ki Chö Kun Kala Ken Se Chu Zin Chi Jita Sampe Do Jen Mala Sake Ki Shapa Vaptu So Idam Gurana Mandala Kamnayatayami.
So good morning again, everyone. Welcome. And so as today we discuss mostly on purifications and the practice of how to do Ngöndro practice of the purification. Especially we kind of focus more on the Terpai Buddha practice among the different practice of purifications. So today we discuss and talk about creating the merit. Again, as I mentioned earlier, creating merit is creating conducive conditions for the growth of our spiritual practice, for the success of our practice, for our spiritual realization to grow within our mind stream. So we talk about how is a mind training. So first, the merit is positive or wide energy forces that we create, virtues, in terms of cause, then it's the merit to create virtuous actions in terms of result, due to our past virtuous actions. There's the potentials for us to experience something, pleasant, meaningful, joyful states, and so forth. So again, the potential, the ability to produce that, we can also, that can be known as merit as well. So we need merit, to have long life. We need merit to have healthy life. We need merit, to have a good job, successful job. We need a merit to have a, successful business, successful job, successful relationship, successful life. We need merit to have prosperity and joyful and happy life. And definitely we need, not only that, we need merit to progress in our spiritual path. We need merit for those spiritual realization that we have not developed, to cultivate and develop them. We need merit to maintain whatever little spiritual realization experience we might have gained, to them to not to deteriorate, but to maintain and continue to increase and improve. It is just like we need water for the plant to grow, but not only grow, to maintain it from dying. And not only we need it to maintain it from dying, but to continue to give the potential for it to grow fully and strongly, and so that plant started to grow, not only whatever it has grown, maintained, but it started to grow bigger and better and stronger, and to its full potential. Same things, the merit does that functionings in our spiritual, the way water does, or other conducive conditions that is needed for the plant to grow and maintain and continue to grow stronger. So the functioning of merit is that, that creating that conducive conditions. And we need that. We need that. And we need merit to be able to help and benefit others. We need the merit to be able to have the resources, external, internal resources that we need to be able to help and benefit other sentient beings. Someone like His Holiness Dalai Lama or Gebje Lama Sopa Rinpoche and others great masters, even though, professionally, they are not kind of business people. They haven't trained. They were not trained or learn how to raise funds or money to help and benefit others. Or sometimes they don't even have to intentionally kind of does any fundraising, but comes. And because of that, they have been able to support so many different projects and so many different activities to help and benefit. Not only helping all these monastery, nunnery, India, Nepal, in the West, Tibet, and so many different countries, and not only those monasteries they established, they are also helping so many other monasteries, that they didn't establish, but they helped them to provide food. Not only the food fund Rinpoche raised for Serache, but he helped to do food fund for Tashilumbu Monastery, Serame, many other monasteries, you know. So many different social project activities, helping a lot of old age homes in India, many of them, many schools, not only the education for monks and nuns, for non-monks and nuns, educations, some schools in Nepal, India, helping with clinics, Rinpoche established an eye clinic in Tibet, built and established eye clinics, and then, others helping clinic in Nepal, also in India, in both Gayas, um, mobile clinics as well as residential clinics, animal sanctuaries, and not only animal sanctuaries, Rinpoche have directly, indirectly, some he did directly, some he encouraged, inspire others to liberate, millions of fish or other animals over there. And build so many holy objects all over the world, supported, built the holy objects, so many stupas, statues, producing Dharma, books, supporting to translate Dharma books, so many different projects. And I believe Rinpoche has able to be successfully be able to support and so many those projects and activities because he had the resources to do that, the intention, the motivation, the bodhicitta mind to help benefit. But it is not enough just you can have compassion in mind, bodhicitta mind, but if you don't have resources, then again, you can only do as little. And so, but able to do so much, and also same with His Holiness. If you see his all projects, and because of the merit, they have the resources came easily. It's just without so much. Like sometimes I see, like in a center or other organization, you work so hard to raise money and still you cannot make it. You struggle is, how much hardship you put, but what you are able to make is, plan for months, weeks, and so many people involve so much effort, and then when you actually rest, you struggle to rest, But someone like Lama Sopa Rinpoche, the resources just kind of, it's like manifesting, it's just kind of so coming easily, relatively. And I believe it's because of the merit. And which Rinpoche emphasized very much on that, even in his practice. Creating the merit, Rinpoche emphasized very much. Not only he emphasized and teach the others, but that is also Rinpoche, himself practice a lot. Rinpoche has set up, many places all over the world, offering of, some monks, nuns, everyday offerings, hundreds, thousands of water bowl every day, in Aptos here, in Kopan. There's someone who does all the time, in Mongolia and so many different places, And Rinpoche offer, this, like every, I think, I don't know exactly, but one time, still it is same, every new moon, full moon, in holy stupas in Nepal and India, they wash with a white, and then they offer this kind of, what you call, like, to the stupa, they offer the saffron, or they offer new clothes, to the stupas, prayer flags. I think Rinpoche sponsors or offer that that thousands of lights offerings, in all those special occasions, um, sponsors a lot of prayers, pujas to be done in all these big monasteries, you know. Uh, so, and these are the way of creating the merit. That is, of course, Rinpoche individually do his own practice at home, but also these are that he sponsors or he to create merit for the organizations, uh, and for everything, so that and because of all this incredible intensive way of creating merit, and when you create so much merit in that way, then I think the resources come more easily, and through the resources, then which is able to help and benefit more beings, more projects, that help more sentient beings, more beings, you know. So I think that is, you know, yeah. Again, it is not necessarily, you know, Rinpoche is able to rest more and do more than all these experts normally, who have learned and educated in raising monies for, and nor not every teachers and great lama is able to do that. In terms of their intentions to support different project or help benefit, they have the intention, but their struggles when it comes to resources to do that, So what make kind of someone like Lama Sopa Rinpoche kind of, what make him more easy to have those resources? And when I observe is the merit, because he emphasizes and he does that so much on creating the merit, you know. When you create the merit and when the cause conditions come, then, those resources come easily, and and you are able to help benefit more, and again, you create more merit, you know. Mm. So that is, yeah. Um, mm, and yeah, I already kind of discuss about the more kind of holistic approach in our spiritual practice, of meditations as well as purification, accumulation, and merit, and the Guru Yoga, going all, you know, engaging in practice all of them. That is more kind of, and when we approach that more holistic approach, then you are more likely to have realizations, and also more easily, more quickly. And then we already spoke about this particular story of Papa Lamchung. We spoke about Lamchung Kaba's own stories, you know, and many of those masters, where they, at the very beginning, even though they have been meditating for a long time, where their struggles to have the spiritual realizations. But when they started to embrace the other practice, purification, accumulation, merit, Guru Yoga, and when they combine all these practices, and that was when they started to have the realizations. And not only realization, then more easily, more quickly, and not only that is their experience, but also that is same for all of us. So those are important part of the practice. Definitely, the meditation, whatever subjects that you meditate on, is important, but also equally, those other practices are equally important for the to generate those realizations. Even in sutras, I just wanted to read from sutras where it says, as long in one of the sutras, as long as one do not complete two holy collections. So the two collections are the collection of wisdom and collection of merit. Okay. Then one will not understand the holy emptiness. So here it says, even to have understanding of emptiness correctly, you need those two collections. So merit becomes so crucial, the collection of merit. Also, that is how the bodhisattvas progress from one path to next path, and from one bhumi to next bhumi, and gradually to enlightenment is by through collecting merit over 3 eons. In another sutras, Buddhas mention the ultimate innate wisdom, the result of accumulating merit and purifying obscurations, and by the blessing of realized Guru only. Trying to find other method is ignorant. So again, in that sutra, the Buddha said, in order to, cultivate and fully develop this ultimate innate wisdom, then you need to meditate, but also you need to create the merit and purify the obscurations, and realize Guru. And only through then you can have that realizations. And trying to have that realization by other method is ignorance, meaning that it is not possible. One cannot. In Nagarjuna's, I think it must be in Precious Garland, where he, at the end of that, dedication, due to this merit, may I complete merit and wisdom. Having completed merit and wisdom, may I achieve the two holy kayas or the bodies. So again, in order to achieve, as we mentioned a little bit, fully awakened state, the Buddhahood, then Dharmakaya wisdom and Rubakaya form kaya, Rubakaya. Then you need again two collections, the collection of merit and collection of wisdom. The collection of wisdom is the main cause for the Dharmakaya wisdom. Collection of merit is the main cause for the Rubakaya Buddha. Rubakaya, as well as all the Buddha's enlightened major or minor signs, the Buddhas have, enlightened signs such as 32 major and 80 minor signs, and those are result of the merit. And without the merit, you cannot achieve Rubakaya. Without achieving Rubakaya form, then there is no way to help benefit sentient beings. Because sentient beings cannot have access to the Buddha's Dhammakaya, mind and wisdom. The way we get benefit is from the Buddha's showing, manifesting in those Rubakaya form, and then through that, then receiving the teachings and the others. That is how. And so again, you need the merit, the important the merit in that. Aryadeva, who is the main disciples of Nagarjuna, he mentioned those with little merit will not even have a doubt in this Dharma on emptiness. This Dharma meaning to the emptiness. Just by having a doubt will tether the samsara. So basically, forget about having realization of wisdom realizing emptiness. Even to be able to hear teaching on emptiness, you need a lot of merit. Not only to hear teaching on emptiness, forget about realization, even having a doubt about the emptiness by hearing the teachings, so sometimes you wonder, even just having some doubt, even for that you need a merit. Even with little merit, you wouldn't even have the opportunity, you wouldn't even doubt, or you wouldn't even have the opportunity to listen to the dharmas, on the teaching on the emptiness. So therefore, of course, to have realization, then definitely. And not only we need, as I mentioned before, the merit, that conducive condition, the merit to generate the new realization, but also to maintain and to improve. Even you have realizations, we should continue to practice to create merit. And as I mentioned before, the even bodhisattva on the bhumis, who are Arya, on the 10 bhumi, they continue to manifest, in first bhumi, 100 bodies, second, thousands, and each bhumi is more and more their ability get better. And then through manifesting 100 body, visiting 100 Buddha field and making offerings to all the Buddhas in those 100 Buddha field and so forth, that is how they create a lot of merit by engaging such practice. Even those highly realized bodhisattvas, If they if they if they need to create merit, of course we at the very beginning we need even more merit. We need to create even more. So also great, Mahasi Teloba, who is the one of the 80 Mahasiddhis and who is the main teacher for Naropa, also who is Mahasiddhi, where he says, giving advice to Naropa, O son, until you understand the appearance of this dependent arising as the meaning of non-arisings, do not be separated, Naropa, from the chariot wheel of two collections. So basically, the two collections, again, as mentioned, the collection of merit and the wisdom. Never be separated from those practice. Mm. Similarly, which one I already kind of did. Adisha in his Both of Garlands of Jewel. Practicing like this, you will complete the accumulation of both merit and wisdom and eliminate two forms of obscuration. You will make this human life meaningful and in the time gain unsurprisable awakening. Again, to achieve unsurprisable awakening and make your life meaning, one should continue to practice in the collection, accumulating the two collections, the collection of merit and the wisdom. Kadamba Master says, without accumulation of the merit, it's like seed that like moisture. Even you practice, even you meditate. You could meditate for days, weeks, months, hours each day for a long time. But if you don't create the merit, then it will be like seed that never get the moisture, and therefore cannot produce the plant. And therefore you cannot produce the plant of spiritual realization experiences. So if you want spiritual realization, then you need the conducive condition, the support of the conducive condition of the merit, and we need to create that. The Katamba master also used another examples where it says, with accumulation of merit and purification, ripening the falls, like the path ready to burst, and ripening positive qualities like fruit, ready to enjoy and experience. So it's like, when you are given enough soil and water and all of that, then slowly the fruit becomes ripening. And when it's ripening, then you are ready to enjoy and experience. In the same way, you will be ripening for the spiritual realizations to grow. And also like pass, and I think it's like something like pimple, when you are pimple. And when it's ripening, then it's ready to burst. And that is healing. Then you heal from that, So again, that is another example of Geshe Dolbo, Kadamba masters. One of the Kadamba masters, Geshe Dolbo, says, sometimes when we try to practice meditate, it seems realization is very hard. It seems like we can never have realizations. We might feel that way. Maybe it is not for me, or in this life, realization seems too far away. Enlightenment, liberation, they seem too far away, unreachable. even some other realizations seems very difficult. We might feel that way, sometime. So Geshe Thubten says, if you try to combine while you are meditating and practice, if you try to combine the purification, accumulation method and Guru Yoga by seeing the deity and Guru inseparable, Guru Yoga, and if you can do meditate, even it seems the realization will not arise for 100 years, but it will arise because it's impermanent and you have created the right cause and conditions. So if you have created the right cause and condition, then the result will happen. Even you feel maybe it might not arise tomorrow, but when the cause and condition that it will arise tomorrow. It is not about how I feel it, it's more about creating cause and conditions. I might feel tomorrow, it might arise tomorrow, but if I don't create the cause and condition, it doesn't arise just because I feel about it. But if I create cause and condition, even I don't feel like if tomorrow it will arise tomorrow, it will arise tomorrow because it's impermanent and it changes when the cause and condition changes. And when you have put all the cause and condition together, then those realization will come. Even sometimes when we feel, and so yeah. And as I mentioned already, Lama Tsongkhapa in Lamrim, when listening, not being able to retain the words, when reflecting, not being able to understand the meaning, and when meditating, not being able to have realization, at such time, the instructions, the pit instructions is, to depend on holy objects. And that means, depend on holy object means, in relation to the holy object, we create merit, prostrations, making offerings, paying homage, all of different way of creating merit, different way of creating merit in relation to holy objects. And when you do that, then some of the teachers, advise when you are trying to meditate, sometime when you are trying to meditate, you cannot concentrate, your mind becomes crazy, you are just trying to sit, but you are just sitting your body, your mind is not there at all, your mind is all crazy, And so in the advice in such cases, instead of trying to what you call push yourself too hard to concentrate when you are unable to concentrate, and that could make even you worse, Instead, they say get up and try to do some purification, accumulation of merit. That's what you need. So instead, immediately get up and do some kind of purification practice, accumulation of merit, and then that can help you next session when you try to sit it, to settle down your mind, and again to be able to focus better and not get too crazy. And I think it's very good, advice, and sometimes we need to kind of also relax a little bit. In the monastery, like we memorize. Of course, we need to memorize some of the root texts and some commentaries, and then memorizing is not enough, You memorize today, you forget tomorrow, So you have to repeat, recite many times over weeks, months, years, so that you can retain that, you don't lose that, And so we have to do that. We do that, And it's whether it's a root or commentary or something you have memorized, someone you have, and you can kind of recite them kind of fluently, most days. But there are certain days you get stuck from the very beginning. Sometimes you can recite 20 pages, 30 pages, 40 pages, 50 pages in a day. Or sometimes you get stuck in the first pages or second pages. And then you restart. Again, you get stuck there. Again, you restart, and you get more and more frustrating. you know, you get more and more frustrating. You know, um, and and then in such cases, you just have to relax. Today is not the day. You don't have to push yourself and get frustrated that. And when you push yourself and frustrated, it becomes worse before you are able to go up to page number 3, and now you stuck at page number 2, and now you try to recite that again. You can't even go that. You just recited earlier. You get stuck in the first page because of frustrations, and your mind is kind of not in the right state, and and that's one thing that I learned. You know, in such situations, sometimes you just have to relax, say, you know, do something else, read the commentary, study something else, here, do some other purification, accumulation merit, you know. So, of course, I'm just giving example of that, but that could happen same when we are trying to meditate. There are certain days, certain sessions that our mind cannot focus, and our mind cannot settle down even if we are trying to meditate and practice. And so in those, instead of pushing yourself and getting more and more frustrated, you know, it's better to, as the master's advice, better to maybe some prostrations, purifications, maybe do some mandala offerings, or maybe some other form of, kind of purification, accumulation merit, you know. And then after that, I think again you can go back, and again that can be helpful. Mm. And so also in Lamrim Chemo, Lama Tsongkhapa, he says, without the support of overcoming obstacles through purifications, okay, we talked yesterday, and then gathering conducive conditions of accumulating merit, even if one practice very hard, merely by meditating or contemplating on the main subjects, whether it's emptiness, bodhicitta, whatever, it's extremely difficult to actualize those realizations which have not been developed. Therefore, engage on those practices are important. Again, these are not a message from just a philosopher. They are a message from a true practitioners who have practiced and learned from their experiences. You know, it's not just a scholar, a philosopher, but someone who is a true practitioner, scholar, philosopher, also great master who have done all this practice themselves, have all the experience themselves, and learn through the experience, as I mentioned the story before. Abonga Rinpoche mentions, until we attain enlightenment, we should practice accumulation, merit, and purifications. Until we achieve enlightenment, you know. And as I mentioned, the bodhisattvas, even the 10 bhumi, they are practicing that. So, and we need even more than them. We need more merit than themselves. We beginners, so here, we beginners should starve for accumulations and purification whole our life. We should focus more on accumulation and purification more than the meditation itself. That is the advice, that this is for the beginners, and so that is why it is like, for the beginners, first, when you don't have a good ground to plant, and you have to walk on the ground, the soil. That should be the first focus, making the soil suitable, clearing, and then if you need to add more fertilizers, more better soil, and whatever other conducive conditions that make that soil more conducive and better, you know. And then once your soil is very good, then you can plant, and then you will get a good plant without so much difficulties. Otherwise, your soil is not good, and you can plant, and you can put a lot of effort. It might not grow. It might not grow fully because the soil is not good. The soil is not conducive. And same thing that is here. Again, the advice here, and Paponga Rinpoche, and also all other lamas advise it that, and that is also why you see Lama Sopa Rinpoche, most students, most practice, he gave those preliminary practices of purification, accumulation, merit for their whole life, because that is important to create that better foundation, better soil. So when that is good, then when you meditate, then you can have realization easily and quickly. Otherwise, even if we meditate very hard, we cannot have realizations, and we get frustrated, and we started to have doubt about the practice themselves, Then we started to have doubt about the whole path itself, you know. And the reasons we struggle is because the soil in our mind is not conducive, not enough purification, accumulation merit, and that is why where the struggles for the realization to grow, become the okay. Mm. So, as I mentioned, there are many different practice for accumulating merit. So now we kind of talk a little bit about the importance of the merit, okay? Creating merit, engage in practice of creating merit. And sometimes I like to kind of have those quotations coming through the sutras and the early Indian masters up to Tibetan masters, our teachers. Because sometimes people think, oh, this is just Tibetan things, you know. Yeah, there are a lot of comment people think and make, oh, it's just Tibetan things, But those are very rooted in those earlier Indian masters' writings. Based on those, their writings, their practice, their teachings. And if you go further, then you find all these sources in the sutras. It comes from the Buddha himself, So sometimes it's helpful when we know the where the source comes from. So it is not some kind of, in the somewhere one teacher, one lama decided to invent those, and that doesn't have kind of authentic sources in the earlier Indian master or the. And when we understand that, also it gives us a little bit more faith in those practice, And when you have more trust in your practice, faith in practice, then you are more inspired to do the practice, and you can find more. One will be able to find more enthusiasm and interest in doing the practice. If you don't have the faith, even your teacher said to do, it will be hard to inspire yourself and find the enthusiasm in doing that. You know, in coming back to the I, seven limb practice, we talk one of the evenings or two evenings, but I think I didn't kind of conclude the. And so, in those seven limb practice, some those practices are part of purification. Some of them are way to accumulate merit, and some of them to increase and improve. So frustration, fourth one, is both purification and accumulation merit. You know. Then second, offerings is accumulation merit. Third one, confessions is part of purifications. Fourth one, rejoicing is accumulating merit. As I mentioned, with a story from the Buddha's times, and as Lama Tsongkhapa said, is the with so little hardship, so easy to create merit, incredible amount of merit is rejoicing, and we talk about that. And fifth, you know, requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma is also part of accumulating merit. Requesting to leave the Lama for ever or as long as samsara in also is way of creating merit. And when we do that extensive practice, then there's the long life. When we have long life ceremonies, pujas for the guru, that is part of that kind of more extensive practice of that. Normally, of course, we do in our practice with seven limb, we request them. But when you want to do that more extensive practice, then you do those long life pujas. Is part of that extensive part of that. So accumulating merit. And then seven, dedications is a way to protect whatever virtues, positive karma, merit we have created from being destroyed by the anger, to protect as well to multiply and increase. So it is mentioned, when we dedicate our virtues for enlightenment or for all sentient beings, then it's like one drop of water in the oceans. So when you put one drop of water in the oceans, that part of the one drop of the water will be as long as the ocean is there. And same way, when we dedicate the virtues for all sentient beings enlightenment, it will be there until you achieve enlightenment. And it will be equal like that drop of water in the oceans, like you have kind of shared with all sentient beings. So as long as it's there, it's always there. It reminds me stories one of our teachers used to share. There was two travelers in Tibet, and they were traveling for quite a bit, and they were carrying, tsamba. Tsamba is a roasted barley, which is a main staple in Tibet. I think that's the main food that they, you know, it can be barley or wheat. Barley is supposed to be better. So they roast them, and then it's almost cooked because it's already roasted, and then you flour from there, and then with the tea, they make a dough and they just eat it. And if you want to have more special, then dry cheese, and if you like sweet, you can add sugars whatever. You can add other things, butter, you know. But that is so. Anyway, when they travel, it is hell is easy to also carry. You know, you just need to boil water or tea, and so a lot of people travel. They carry that, and also at home, that is they eat a lot of time. And so anyway, they were traveling. They were planning to travel, and as they were traveling, you know, then one has got quite nice samba, but very little, and the one has got a lot of samba. And the one who has little samba, he was smart, and he said, "Why don't we mix our samba?" You know, and they mixed the samba, and you know, he had enough for maybe a couple of days. You know, the other one had enough for many weeks. You know, so after some time, you know, he ran out his samba, and then he he asked, and the other said, "I think your share has already run out." And he said, "But no, no, my share is still there." So he now they cannot separate. So as long as samba is there, his samba is there, you know, even he might have that much, and the other one has lot. As long as it's there now, you know, as long as the samba is there, his share is there. So it's similar like drop of water in the oceans, you know, like that. So anyway, so that is a way of multiplying and also protecting. Protecting the virtues, the merit from being destroyed by the anger and the wrong view, as well as to multiply. Of course, the karma by itself, there is a characteristic of increasing and multiplying on that, but at the same time, you know, another way of multiplying even more. So that is then coming back to the actual practice of creating merit. There are so many different practices of creating merit. You know, so many different way of creating merit. Every day, you know, you can make water bowl offerings. You know, unless you know you don't have space, or unless you know it's not conducive because of your families, and maybe they are not supportive, and you don't want to disturb them. You know, um, so that might be other conditions. Otherwise, if you don't have those issues, you know, uh, is 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 a way to create merit every day. You know, start the day by making the offerings to the Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Sanghas. You know, all who are on the altars of your Guru. That remind me, uh, you know, one time one of my friends asked me, you know, whether I can be his teacher. You know, and I said, you know, no, I would rather be a friend, because if I'm a teacher, I only get water. If I'm friend, I get a lunch. So I would rather have a lunch, go with you at lunch, instead of just drinking water every day on the altar. So at least we can offer them water. It's better than not offering water. Hmm. So yeah, you know, even though what we offer is water, but we imagine, visualize those 7 set of offerings that we talk about. You know, drinking water, washing water, flowers, incense, light, um, perfume, food. You know, and sometimes some people have eight. If they have eight, there's music. You know, so those offerings we imagine, visualize those offerings, even though in terms of setting we have just water. And on top of that, of course, if you can, then you can have, flowers. And you don't, even you cannot have bunches of flower, even just have one flowers. Is, you visual, even though actually there's only one rose, instead, but you can imagine the whole space full with that, and the light, you know, you can make an incense, you could have a food, even food, even you could have a fruit, you offer it and then take it as a blessings, and so, those are the things that we can um, do on every day, um, every mornings, when when Adisha came to Tibet, he said, you Tibetans, you should have this water, offer the water, because you have such a pure waters, and also, of course, there is a lot of benefit of that too, So again, those are the things. As I said, if you feel comfortable and if you have the space, and if um, there's no resistance or bad feeling, then make utilize opportunity. And that is one of the emphasis Lama Sopa Rinpoche gave, all the time. How can we make every moment, every time meaningful, and way to create merit and purify, every moment, every times, every day. You don't have to wait to do all this practice and find a long time. You can do every day. And that is why he tried to build as many holy objects as possible to give that opportunity for everyone, so that when they have those holy objects, stupas and statues on that, where you can just go while you are walking, while you are going somewhere, you do circumambulations, even so on the side, on the side you already create those, on the side you can just take a bow and pay respect, create merit, um, turn the wheel, on the side. Even though you cannot find to turn all the time while you are walking by, turn the wheel one times, two times. It doesn't take any time then, because you are walking by that, or you are just diverting for 5 minutes or a few seconds. So like that, um, everywhere, anytime, try to make most of it, Mm. So in terms of the Ngöndro, you know, the preliminary practices, you know, as I mentioned, there was 9 in our traditions, So refuge and bodhicitta, accumulating merit, intermerit, and again purifying, 100,000 offering of water bowls, creating merit, 100,000 mandala offerings, creating merit, 100,000 creating chazas, creating merit, creating holy objects, you know, And then in terms of purifications, then is 100,000 35 Buddha for practice with frustrations. Vajrasattva 100,000 Vajrasattva about practice, 100,000 Samaya Vajra, and 100,000 Dojakato practice. So that become 8, and then Guru Yoga 9. Okay, so it 4 for purification and 4 for accumulation merit, and then 1 Guru Yoga in terms of the Ngöndro. 100,000 water bowl, normally, again, if you have opportunity, do yourself. But if you don't have space and time, and also I think what I heard from others is sometime, Rinpoche has said some students, they can do together and kind of together 100,000 and as a group. So that is one way, if you can. Yeah, yeah, that is mixed. Yeah, mixed that small with that. So I think that Rinpoche gave that. I think because again, a lot of people have struggles, or they don't have the space, they don't have the time, they don't have the. But if you can, then it is good, to do. And when you do water bowl, if you are doing by yourself, 100,000, you could have one whole room, and you could put like those table we had there, and 2, 3, 4 tables in that, and then you can have how many even, 500 or thousands of those water balls, and of course there are many different water balls, you can buy steels or other from Nepal, or sometimes you can also find a very, here also like very nice heavy, not glass, but like plastic, but some kind of plastic, not a very, what do you call, yeah, not flexible, quite hard, almost like glass. Sometimes you can find that. And so you can do that.
Size of that thing. What if you chose tiny things like this versus if you choose?
Yeah, the bigger is better. But also we have to be also practical too. It's too big, then it's more, heavier, and it take toll on your hands, and also more space. And if you are really trying to 100,000, then so the normal kind of normal size, um, where do you when you buy kind of water bowl, you find normal size, in this much, and some can be a little bit smaller, if and so, and also it would be nice if you can kind of make the water with a saffron. Of course, the saffron become very expensive, so then you can find in Nepal they have this, and I know this flower probably here. I don't know. I think it's the yellow flower. What you call um, marigold. I think I think it is marigold, or it might be slightly different. It seems like marigold. When you dry it, and then it become color when you put in the water, especially if you boil it. Um, I'm not 100% sure whether it's the marigold, but it seems like marigold. Anyway, you can buy for example, in Nepal, that's where they do the stupas. They offer that. where they make the yellow rounds, you know, they wash it with a white, and then with that they put that, and then that's the kind of offerings, you know. And so they are not expensive, and you know, and it has some, of course, color, almost like saffron, and also it has also quite frequency, nice frequency as well. And if you boil a little bit, you know, you put one bundle or whatever, and you boil maybe for 20 minutes or something, you know, on a low, and you put, and then you can put in some bottle, you know, and you can put in the refrigeration, you add up a little bit, you know, and that could last for a while. You can use for every day water ball, as well as when, if you want to try it when you do 100,000 water ball, that can be also good if you can, you know. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. You know, you can live a whole day, you can live half days, or you can do 4 times offerings if you have that, you know. So each time, of course, if you are doing 4 times, you know, we talk about it today. With whatever Ngöndro you do, you know, you try to do the Bodhisattva motivations. And especially the first session, you try to focus more extensive motivations. Then the second, third, fourth, maybe you still do Bodhisattva motivation, but maybe you don't have to spend so extensively on that as much as the morning. You know, you can have short Bodhisattva motivations. In the last session, you try to have more extensive dedications. Each of session, you try to have the motivation and dedications. But the first session, you try to have more extensive motivations. And the last session, you try to have more extensive dedications, even though they all have both start with bodhicitta motivation and then end with dedications. And that will be same for all the different practice you do, whether it's Ngöndro or whether it's non-Ngöndro, other even retreat you do when you are doing 3 session, 4 session of any retreat, it's always start with the bodhicitta motivation and end with dedications. And then, yeah, the last one you do more extensive dedications because that's the last. And so, and then when you do water ball, it's not just kind of you set up the water ball, you know, and you offer it, and then there is a offering practice as in the water ball offering practice, you know. So I think there is a booklet on that by Rinpoche. You know, I think here there is similar here in like page number silver book where there is an extensive offering practice, and where there is page number 51. Start with the motivation and the blessing, the offerings, you know, with the Omar, Omar. And then there is, you know, making charity to 6 times, offering to the merit field, and then offering cloud mantra and extension for truth, and then presenting the offerings. Here, Rinpoche go very detailed, but you can kind of, you know, if you don't have time, if you have time, then it's nice to do the whole detail. If not, you can shorten a little bit. And then there is the dedications, you know. So that you do, you know. Um, and then after you offer that, then you can take it down. After you have offered it and done that and dedications, then, you know, you can You can take it down, and then you dry them, before you offer the next one. So you clean and dry all of them, all the whole water bowl. Again, you can set up again one. Once you set up that, again, you do the motivations and the whole this practice, you know. After you have finished your practice, again, you can take it down, and then again, you dry, clean each of the bowl. So you can do uh, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, 4 sessions a day, you know. Yes, garden or whatever, feeding if you animals, birds or garden, that is fine. Yeah, um, plants. Yeah. So it depends on how many um, your time and how many balls. Um, when I did, like I had 500 balls, so most time I did 1,000 a day. Like 2 times, but they are once a while, maybe 3 times. But 3 times was a little bit too much. 2 times because it's 500 setting, and then you do practice, and again taking each, and again you have to dry and clean each of them. Also take times. No, I didn't do that. If you can do it, it's wonderful. But yeah, I think I've even seen some others in Bodh Gaya, some others, who offer and do the offerings and taking it down. Even sometimes I don't even see them kind of cleaning. But I guess because they have limited time or whatever. But it's better to do more. Um, yeah, and in sense, you can do the first one and you visualize doing all for them, all of them. You don't have to do each of them when you do that. Um, and if possible, each time also when you do it at home every day, 7, or also when you do more, when you offer the water, do recite Om Ahum, is blessings as well. So that is kind of one of them water ball, okay, 100,000s. So 100,000 is 110,000s as most of them. Mm, yes, please.
When you said you did the incense the first time, did you mean the first session of the day or the first bowl?
First ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each session.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Of course, if we can do all ball, but that would be double time. So if you just do the one bowl of each sessions, and then you visualize that you have cleans and that for all the bowls.
So if you're traveling, do you just do one bowl? Can you just, if you do your first session with one bowl?
Yeah, you carry the 7. You wear them like garland, and you can just over like that. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. If you start with one, and then if you're traveling, then yeah, you can do with one each time. Yeah, why not? You know, um, that is also why not? Yeah, even though it's the first question I've heard of one, but yeah, I mean, if you apply the same reason, is why not? If you start the first day and when you're traveling and it's not kind of practical and possible, then and if you can do one possibly, no matter where you are, then yes, that can be done that way. Yeah. Which, uh-huh.
When you sew,
Mm.
there's this little metal or plastic cup that you use over your finger to protect your finger from the needle poking your hand. It's a tiny little cup. I mean, if you're traveling, I mean, you could visualize that as vast as the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be easy enough to carry. Little
Possibly.
thimble.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Or you can taking a one small, what do you call, glass or small, it doesn't even have plastic, as I said, the thick one. You carry that one and, even in the airport, you can just offer and then you can drink it later. So I don't think.
except TSA will take that away.
But
The security.
but when you pass the water, you can buy the water. You're just carrying the
cup.
cup. Yeah, just carrying the cup. Yeah.
Question. So in a place where there's drought and water is very precious,
Uh-huh.
what's your recommendation?
Yeah, I mean, even in drought, w- if you really kind of in that every day, maybe you are using maybe a couple of baguettes or 3 4 baguettes. And anyway, a lot of people they they water the plant anyway. Many places, even in the drought. I mean, people I see all green lawns. Forget about the flowers, but all green lawns. And so people are using a lot of waters. And you are not just throwing, you are just, yeah, so you don't have to waste it. It you know, Sometimes we might be very cautious, or have a reservation for that, but we might have a reservation for many other how we use the water and how we waste it. So I think sometimes it might be just kind of argument, you know. And I can see that some people who are very concerned about water and that. But again, we are not kind of using, tank and tank each day, few buckets. And anyway, which if people have plant, they they water the plant anyway, and so yeah.
Geshe Sherab, all I remember hearing once was that maybe like this practice originated because in Tibet water was very precious, so that's why water was offered. It was a precious substance. Is that correct? Could you like share anything more about that? Because that's all that's all I remember.
No, I don't know the history of that particular things, but I do know that, or I've seen kind of teach in the commentaries where Adisha made that comment, that in Tibet, you have such a wonderful water and very fresh and water that is good for you. Then you have things to offer. You can offer that. I'm not sure. I'm quite sure the offerings also in India, because those 7 offerings are there. It come from those sources, of Indian sources, and actually is according to how it is greeted in India for the kings, royal families, or when you have guests, such as royal families, before they come, they wash their feet and they, are drinking water and welcome with the garlands of flowers, and of course the incense in the house. And then you don't want to have a feast in the dark, the light. Even here you have also here when you do the what they call when you have, what is the term they use? Dim light, when you have kind of, light, because otherwise. And then, the perfumes, and then the main fish is the food. And then while you are being served, there is a live music, and so the music comes there. So it represents, when you have a special guest, how you greet them with all of that. And so that way, because the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, the holy objects, that's how we try to greet them or offer them in that way. So it comes from that kind of tradition, those different type of offerings, how it was. So it is coming from the Indian sources from earlier, but definitely, instead of all of those offerings, just what do you call, just the water balls, of 7 water ball. I don't know whether it was started in Tibet after Adisha. So that part I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't have clarity. So yeah, refuge we already discussed in terms of creating merit. Refuge, creating merit in relation to the Ngöndro, the preliminary practice. The refuge, I think we talk already, and so water ball, talk a little bit. Sasa, maybe we don't have to properly discuss so much. Sasa is a little bit more complicating. I think, take more times. You cannot produce mass. With the mantras, you can recite thousands each day, 100,000 each day. Even water ball, you could do thousands a day if you spend the whole day and with many water balls. Salsa, I don't know, you can make 100,000 each day. Probably it will take more time and it is more complicated because you need to have all the material, and then it has to be make sure that because then they could have bubbles and you get mistakes, so you have to be careful each of them. And also you need a place to put them, so that is another things. Even though there are practice of, you know, some masters, when you don't have really resources, and when you don't have really resources, then you can do through all visualizations. Someone like Milarepa, he didn't have all these resources to all of this. He didn't even have an altar. Altar is in his mind. That is just fine. But if we have the resources and if we can, is better. And so there is a water tata, wind tata. And so some, with the tata block, the printing block, then you put on water, and then there is certain practice part of that, the motivations, and then the different mantras and practice related, and you just print on water and bless the water. Sometimes they go to the river and they just do that. That is water tatas. Also wind, if you happen to be in a mountain or places where there's no stream water, then you just do in wind. Maybe when someone see you, they might think you are cuckoo. What is that person doing? He's a cuckoo. No, but there is, yeah, um, water tasa, wind tasa as well. And then, of course, traditionally they make from the clay. Chaza, they print in the clay. And again, there is whole process, the clay and the paper, and they have to beat each of them, and they have to make it, and then oil, and then so there is whole process, and with each of those process, there's a different visualization, different mantras, while you are kind of mixing them, while you are beating those two things, while you are printing it, while you are taking out and oiling it, while you are painting it, consecration. So there are a bit of that. And nowadays, when you do this with a kind of whatever material, the kind of cement, not cement, but other materials, so the process is not same. There's no beading and all these things. So you do the whole practice together, all the mantra together, and then
How do you choose what deity to
uh-huh. Yeah, sometimes
focus
you
on?
can ask your teachers, and they might give you advice. And sometimes also it depends on what you want to focus on. If you are doing more focus on purifications, then um, you find more deity that's related to purification, mitukpas, vasasadavas, and so on. If you want to focus more on Guru Yoga, then like Lama Tsongkhapa or something like that. Or if you want to focus more on compassion, maybe the Avalokiteshvara, if you want to focus. So depending on that, or you want to have more focus on more longevities as well. Of course, part of Ngöndro, but also for that, then the long life deities, and so it depends on also that. But one could ask the one's guru, yeah, that is what when I first got myself, Rinpoche didn't give 100,000, but Rinpoche gave me satas, some thousands, and uh, that is the only one I haven't started and finished. Rinpoche didn't give any particular deity; he just gave. And so after a few years, I asked him, and so yeah, he advised me to do Avalokiteshvara, So one can ask and then they can advise.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
And so, and then in terms of, traditionally sometimes because depending on how big, sometimes they don't have the space for mantra. Sometimes they do the grain, grain, and then grain consecrated and blessed by your teachers, guru, lamas, and they put each of those grain into each of that. So that is like the mantras, the grain that has been consecrated and blessed and that. But I think nowadays, the nano, or what do you call nano, with the nano technique, there's a mantra, that they come and very small. And so I've seen some people using that and putting that small part in while you are. That might be also one possibility in terms of, because it's small, that you don't have space to fill the mantras. And so you could have that mantras, or traditionally when they don't have space, then they do this grain. It could be rice or other grain that has been consecrated and blessed. And that is like the mantra inside the tata. Okay. And then, yeah, once you finish the tata, then you paint it, you gold paint it, or some people really paint like a statues, as it is. It takes a lot of time. But most people, they might just paint sometime blue or different colors, and mostly gold is like an offering of the gold. So they also do the gold, not real gold, but like gold color. And then with the tata is one problem is having a space for tata, because if you make 100,000, that will be going to be a lot. And so you have to figure out how to do that. Of course, if there are places where they are making stupas, then they need the chasas to go in stupas, and that would be one place where you can give, and they also need it is helpful for them, and also it's great for you to have that. But if you don't have that, then problem is you create it, then where are you going to put it, how you are going to manage it. That is one of the, in some places then they make a sasa house, and then they stack inside that, and that sasa house is like a stupa, then holy objects. So yeah, one complication is once you have made it, how we are going to put and how you are going to manage, that will be for the sasas, that will be one complications. Yeah.
Do you have to have a kiln, like an oven to bake all these, or how does it dry? It just in the sun is?
Yeah, you don't need the oven to dry. Yeah. Clay one you can dry in the sun, but nowadays I don't know what kind of material they use. There's some white, I don't know exactly, plaster, and I think there are different kind of plaster and some better quality than others, and I think you just dry in the sun or maybe just in the room, with the room temperatures. So it will take time to dry depending on places, I guess. New Mexico, maybe probably they will dry quickly. Yeah. So I think that is, and then we have break, and then after break, then we'll talk more about the other, one of the others practice of creating the mandala, and thousand mandala, that part. Okay. Chanju Samjo Rinpoche, Mage Bana Kekyo Kyawa Nyamba Mebaya, Kongle Kondo Pewa Sho. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. See you later. Bye.